Some philosophers write like they're building cathedrals, solid, structured, and monumental. Gilles Deleuze, 1925 to 1995, on the other hand, wrote like a jazz musician improvising in the middle of a storm. His philosophy is wild, unpredictable, and full of energy. He never wanted to build systems that trap people, he wanted to show how to break out of them. Today, when so many of us feel suffocated by routines, labels, technologies of control, and the endless pressure to fit in, Deleuze offers something radically different, a philosophy of freedom, creativity, and becoming. His work is notoriously difficult to read, but beneath the abstract language lies a beating heart that speaks directly to how we live. This article will unpack 10 life lessons from Gilles Deleuze, not as dry theory but as living tools. Each lesson is a way of rethinking how we see ourselves, our desires, our relationships, and the systems around us. If you've ever felt trapped by definitions, bored by routines, or crushed by control, Deleuze whispers, escape is possible, and it starts by thinking differently. 1. Life is about becoming, not being. We grow up hearing questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up, or, who are you really? The assumption is that there's a final, fixed answer, as if identity were a completed puzzle waiting to be solved. Deleuze rejected this whole idea. For him, life isn't about being something static, it's about becoming. Think of a river. If you stand in the same spot and look at it every day, you'll notice it's never the same twice. The water flows, shifts, and transforms, but we still call it the river. People are the same. You might call yourself a teacher or an engineer, but that's only part of your flow. Beneath the surface, you are always shifting, growing, and becoming. The problem with being is that it locks us in cages. If you think, I am shy, you may avoid opportunities to speak up. If you think, I am a failure, you might stop trying. Deleuze wanted us to break these cages. He believed we're never finished, we're always in the middle of a process. Modern life often pressures us into early definitions. Pick a career by 18. Stick to one identity. Brand yourself on social media. But what if instead of asking, who am I, we asked, what am I becoming right now? Maybe you're becoming more patient, more daring, more creative. Maybe you're becoming someone who takes risks, or someone who learns to let go. There's no final arrival point. Life is not a destination, it's a continuous unfolding. Reflection for you: stop treating life like a resume with a fixed title. See yourself as a river in motion, not a statue in stone. Every day you are becoming something new. 2. Difference is not deficiency. We live in a culture obsessed with comparison. Schools rank students, companies rank employees, social media ranks lifestyles. And inevitably, when you compare yourself to others, you find differences that feel like shortcomings. Deleuze's radical point was this: difference is not lack. Being different doesn't mean you are missing something, it means you bring something new. Think of jazz. Jazz doesn't try to imitate classical music, it thrives on improvisation, on being different. Or think of evolution. New species don't emerge by copying old ones. They survive through difference. If everyone were the same, there would be no innovation, no growth, no beauty. But society often turns difference into deficiency. A student who learns slowly isn't seen as different, they're labeled behind. Someone who doesn't follow fashion trends isn't unique, they're out of style. Deleuze challenges us to reverse this thinking. What if your so-called flaws are seeds of creativity? The introvert may listen better. The outsider may see truths others ignore. The person who struggles with conventional paths may invent entirely new ones. Reflection for you: stop asking, "Why am I not like them?" Start asking, "What does my difference allow me to create that no one else can?" 3. Desire is creative, not just lack. Most of us were taught to think of desire as a kind of emptiness. I desire because I lack something. Freud thought desire was built on absence. We want because something is missing. Deleuze turned this upside down. Desire is not a black hole. It is a creative force. When you desire, you don't just wait to be filled, you start producing. A musician desires sound and creates a song. A painter desires color and makes a canvas. An activist desires justice and builds a movement. Desire is productive. This shift matters deeply. When you see desire as lack, you feel powerless, always chasing what you don't have. But when you see desire as creation, you feel powerful, able to build new realities. For example, imagine you desire freedom. You could treat this as an absence, endlessly complaining about not being free. Or you could treat it as energy, designing new routines, seeking new opportunities, connecting with others who share your vision. Desire becomes a motor, not a hole. Reflection for you: stop shaming your desires or treating them as weaknesses. Ask yourself, what can this desire create? 4. Break out of strata, escape the mold. Deleuze and Guattari used the word strata to describe the layers that settle around us, shaping who we are. Think of sediment forming on a rock. Over time, these layers become heavy. In life, strata can be family expectations, cultural norms, personal habits, or institutional rules. The problem is, strata turn movement into rigidity. You stop becoming. You start repeating. Maybe you've heard yourself say, "That's just who I am." That's strata speaking. For Deleuze, the key to freedom is finding lines of flight, ways of escaping these molds. It doesn't mean destroying everything, but loosening the layers that suffocate you. Example: you may have a career strata that says you must climb the ladder in one company forever. A line of flight might be freelancing, starting a project on the side, or changing industries. You may have a relationship strata where you replay the same unhealthy patterns. A line of flight might be therapy, solitude, or seeking a radically different connection. Reflection for you: ask yourself, what molds am I stuck in? What's one small escape line I can draw today? 5. Connections matter more than hierarchies. Society loves hierarchies. We're told to climb ladders, career ladders, social ladders, even spiritual ladders. Deleuze and Guattari proposed another image, the rhizome. A rhizome is like ginger or grass roots. It spreads in all directions, without a single trunk or center. Connections form unpredictably, laterally, without hierarchy. What if we lived like rhizomes instead of trees? Instead of obsessing about being above or below others, we'd focus on connecting, sharing, and collaborating. In your career, that means valuing networks over ladders. In friendships, it means seeing people as equals, not as status markers. In creativity, it means letting ideas flow sideways, across disciplines, rather than in rigid categories. Reflection for you: stop asking, "How do I get to the top?" Start asking, "How do I spread out and connect?" 6. Think in multiplicities. We're trained to think in binaries: good versus bad, success versus failure, winner versus loser. Deleuze rejected this. Reality is not binary, it's multiple. Think of yourself. You're not just confident or insecure. You're both, in different contexts. You're not simply a success or a failure. You're a complex web of experiences. Deleuze called this multiplicity. Life becomes richer when you stop flattening it into either slash or categories. Problems open up when you realize there are more than two choices. Identity becomes freer when you allow yourself to be many things at once. Reflection for you: don't reduce yourself, or others, to one label. Embrace your multiplicity. Life is not a coin with two sides, it's a kaleidoscope. 7. Resist systems of control. Deleuze saw the modern world shifting from disciplinary societies, schools, prisons, factories, to societies of control, where power is invisible but constant. Today, you don't need bars to be trapped. Algorithms, social media, surveillance, all shape your behavior. Every time you scroll, click, or swipe, you're being nudged. Your choices aren't fully your own. That's the subtle control Deleuze warned about. Resisting doesn't mean abandoning technology, it means being conscious of how it shapes you. Take breaks. Question suggestions. Protect your attention like it's gold. Reflection for you: where are you being controlled without realizing it? What small step could reclaim your freedom? 8. Experiment with life. Deleuze didn't think philosophy should be about eternal truths. For him, it was about experimentation. Life is a lab. You don't have to get it right once and for all. You try, you adjust, you play. Treat your habits, careers, relationships as experiments. If one fails, it doesn't mean you failed, it means you learned something new. The most creative lives are experimental. They treat failure not as shame, but as discovery. They remain open to possibility. Reflection for you: instead of asking, "Am I doing life right?" ask, "What am I experimenting with right now?" 9. Affirm life's chaos. Chaos scares us. We want order, predictability, stability. But Deleuze saw chaos as fertile soil. Out of chaos, new worlds are born. Think of a storm clearing the air. Or an artist facing a blank canvas, chaos at first, but potential in every brushstroke. If you try to control everything, you block creativity. Life will always bring breakdowns, surprises, disruptions. Instead of fearing them, Deleuze invites us to affirm them. Reflection for you: next time chaos hits, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What new possibilities are hidden here?" 10. Freedom is in movement. Freedom isn't about staying comfortable. It's about movement, about creating lines of flight that carry you out of confinement. Maybe that movement is literal: travel, relocation, a new project. Maybe it's mental: shifting perspective, rewriting your story, unlearning a toxic belief. Freedom is not a permanent state. It's something you generate again and again. Reflection for you: if you feel stuck, don't wait for freedom to come. Move, even a small step, and freedom will emerge in the motion. Conclusion: living the Deleuzean way. When we step back and look at the 10 life lessons from Gilles Deleuze, a pattern begins to emerge. Each lesson is not just a separate idea, it's a piece of a larger map, a way of navigating life that refuses rigidity and embraces motion. Deleuze doesn't hand us rules. He doesn't say, "Here's the right way to live, follow it strictly." That would be another cage, another hierarchy. Instead, he gives us tools, concepts like becoming, multiplicity, difference, rhizomes, and lines of flight, that encourage us to keep experimenting with freedom. His philosophy is less a doctrine and more a compass, pointing us toward continuous reinvention. Let's revisit the arc of his wisdom. From being to becoming, Deleuze shows us that identity is not fixed. You are not a finished product, you are a work in progress, a river in motion. This alone frees us from so much anxiety about who we are supposed to be. By affirming difference, he teaches us that our uniqueness is not a flaw but a force. Instead of hiding what sets us apart, we can lean into it, letting difference become the spark of creativity. Through the creativity of desire, he reminds us that what we long for is not emptiness, it's energy. Desires build worlds, they connect us, motivate us, and give shape to the future. By warning us about strata, he urges us to notice the molds and scripts that trap us. Escaping them is not easy, but every small act of rebellion, every line of flight, opens space to breathe. By celebrating rhizomes, he shows us a new way of relating. Life is not about climbing ladders, but about spreading sideways, forming networks, making connections, building webs of meaning. With multiplicity, he dissolves the false binaries that limit us. Life is not either /or, it's both /and, plus more. This opens a deeper tolerance for complexity, both within ourselves and with others. By exposing systems of control, Deleuze gives us a crucial survival skill for the 21st century. Power is no longer only in walls and bars, it's in algorithms, metrics, and invisible nudges. Recognizing this is the first step toward reclaiming autonomy. By treating life as an experiment, he gives us permission to play, to fail, to try again. The weight of getting it right lifts when we see life as a laboratory. Through the affirmation of chaos, he invites us to dance with uncertainty instead of fearing it. Chaos is not the enemy, it's the birthplace of novelty. And finally, with the lesson of movement, he shows us that freedom is not a static possession. It's something we generate whenever we flow, escape, and transform. Freedom isn't found, it's made. When taken together, these lessons form a radical reorientation of life. Instead of chasing perfection, stability, and fixed identity, Deleuze points us toward becoming, difference, and motion. Instead of fearing disruption, he encourages us to see it as opportunity. Instead of letting control seep into every corner of our existence, he pushes us to resist and reinvent. This philosophy is not abstract, it's practical. You can apply it daily. When you feel trapped in routine, remember, you're not stuck, you can draw a line of flight. When you feel less than, remind yourself, difference is power. When you're overwhelmed by uncertainty, affirm the chaos, it may be leading you somewhere new. To live Deleuzean is not to live without fear, but to live beyond fear. It's to acknowledge that life is wild, unpredictable, and uncontrollable, and that's precisely its beauty. It's to keep moving, experimenting, and creating, even when the world tries to hold you still. Maybe the most powerful takeaway is this: you don't have to fit into the world's pre-made shapes. You can carve your own. You can become. So, as you step away from these lessons, don't think of them as static advice. Think of them as seeds. Plant them in the soil of your daily life. Let them grow rhizomatically, sideways, unpredictably, freely. Because for Deleuze, life isn't about reaching an end. It's about staying in motion. It's about becoming more, again and again.